coming today, and thanks to the organisers who've brought us all together. Our message today is silence is violence, and shame on Bath and North East Somerset Council for not voting for a ceasefire and for not listening to the Bath residents. Shame on you. Shame on them. We've got some fantastic speakers here today. Among them is Charlotte Church, and when she arrives, let's give her a really warm Bath welcome. Very quickly, as it's St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, I'd like to dedicate an Irish blessing to the people of Palestine. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Also, MEP Claire Daly, Firebrand, Irish member of the European Parliament, has accused President Biden of enabling Israeli aggression while speaking it recently. She said, and I quote, "Butcher Biden. Take notes, Butcher Biden. The ancestors of the island that you claim to be from disown you. Keep our country out of your mouth." Yes.
Next, we have Amira and Jane doing a double speech together as a Palestinian Muslim woman and as a Jewish woman. And we'd like you to give them a big warm welcome, please.
Okay, so you now have the two most reluctant, nervous speakers you will ever come across at a public rally. But we felt we had to do it anyway, because as a Jew and a Palestinian, we stand together. And we each want for the other, and for all Palestinians and Jews, peace, freedom, security, and justice. So we want to say something about speaking out, and also the importance of keeping hope alive, despite the atrocities that are taking place. My grandparents were lucky. They were the wrong kind of people in occupied Ukraine, Russia, Poland, but they were the right kind of people to be allowed into the UK. So as a Jewish person, I was taught to never persecute other people and to never, ever be a bystander. So I remind myself of what Martin Niemöller, who was also Jewish, said. First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Now the state of Israel has come again for the Palestinians, so we have to speak out. What Israel is doing is not in my name. The atrocities... The atrocities they are committing in Gaza are catastrophic, but also having an impact here in the UK. So Amira and I are speaking out, and we trust that you will continue to do the same, to oppose Israel's brutality, for a permanent ceasefire, for lasting peace and security for Palestine, to stop arming Israel, for aid to get through to Gaza, and for Palestinians and Jews to live peacefully side by side. Let's all continue to speak out, to use our voice in whatever ways we feel able to. Let's sign petitions, donate to medical and aid charities, speak or write to family, friends, people who agree, people who disagree, to MPs, city councillors, people in the checkout queue in Tesco's. Amira's now going to remind us why it's so important that we keep speaking out.
Thank you. How would you feel if all that you had left of your home was rubble on the streets? No roof above your head, only debris beneath your feet. How would you feel if all that you had left of your child was loose limbs and plastic bags? No child beside you, only pieces in your lap. How would you feel if all that you had left to eat was animal feed to survive, after experiencing days of hunger with no aid to arrive? This is the reality for people living in Gaza, trapped in a nightmare they cannot escape from, where over 31,000 people have been killed, where 70% of all homes have been destroyed, where 10 children will lose their limbs every day, the majority of which are amputated without anaesthetic, and where 2.2 million people are experiencing crisis levels of food insecurity or worse, the highest share ever to have been recorded for any given area in the world. For the past 5.5 months, Gaza has been declared at war. But we all know this didn't begin on October the 7th. It began in 1917, when Britain promised the land of Palestine, the indigenous land of the Palestinian people, to the Zionist Organization for the creation of a Jewish homeland, a promise which was both legally and morally illegitimate to make. After 30 years of repressive British occupation, the State of Israel was created upon the graves of tens of thousands of Palestinians massacred during the Nakba to be replaced with a new population. Within the empty walls of lifeless houses once home to 750,000 Palestinians who were forced to flee for their lives in fear. And amongst some 530 devastated villages and cities grieving the loss of their indigenous population who had lived upon their land in peace and harmony for centuries upon centuries. By the end of the first Nakba, Israel had captured 78% of historic Palestine, and in 1967 it illegally occupied the small remainder that was left. And while this may have begun all those years ago, we see its continuation until this very day, where Palestinian inhabitants of Gaza are being murdered in cold blood, collectively starved and driven out of their homes towards the Egyptian border. I was always taught to believe that the world is a better place now, where statements like never again meant never again for all people, where international law was created to hold states accountable and uphold international peace, and where the civilized West were characterized by freedom, democracy and gentility. However, the current catastrophe unfolding in Gaza has made me question everything I thought I once knew. It has revealed a world where our version of the story is silenced in the papers and our calls for freedom concealed as hate speech. It has revealed a world where we must take to the streets month after month, begging our leaders to call for an end to the violence, and still our cries are ignored by our representatives. It has revealed a world where 71% of the British population have expressed support for a ceasefire. Meanwhile, our government would rather export arms to Israel to facilitate them in their genocide. We can no longer disguise colonialism as conflict, genocide as war, and ethnic cleansing as voluntary migration, as if the use of euphemisms will alter the reality of their crimes. Palestinians, like Israelis, deserve to live lives of freedom, and this begins with an immediate ceasefire and an end to the illegal occupation that has been suffocating the Palestinian people for years. Today, we stand together, side by side, in solidarity with the Palestinian people, male and female, old and young, Palestinian and Jew. We are all brought together by the beauty of our moral conscience as we strive to create a better future for all. A future free from oppression, segregation, death and destruction. A future full of liberation, unification, love and compassion. The people united will never be defeated. Now, if it's okay, there's just a couple more things that we'd like to say.
Take these.
Is that all right for you?
Thank you. So today is about speaking out, but it is also about keeping hope alive for a better future. Both are really important, speaking out and keeping hope alive. Hard though that might feel right now. And however angry we rightly feel, let us continue to speak out with kindness, dignity, resilience, and hope. A friend of mine who's a refugee always says, for us, hope is not a fleeting emotion or a momentary feeling. It's a practice, it's a discipline. It's what we do and keep doing every day, like when we show up for each other to make a community and show we care for one another. Just one more thing. I recently had my DNA tested. I am 99% Jewish and delighted to find I am 1% Arab. I hope that 1% is Palestinian, but it actually doesn't matter at all if I'm not, because in our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. In our millions, in our trillions, we are all Palestinians. Thank you.
Apologies to those who've already, they were at the council meeting on Thursday. I'm going to say my speech again, and I've also added a message to Kevin Guy, who is the leader of the council. I can't. Can you hold it up? I can't sleep at night. I have a constant headache. My mental health is deteriorating. My GP has prescribed antidepressants. I grind my teeth at night. I feel like I am living a nightmare. I go to bed thinking about it. I wake up thinking about it. If I wake during the night, it floods into my consciousness and I can't get back to sleep. I am exhausted and ill. I feel permanently on edge. I find it difficult to relate to my family and my friends. It's like they exist behind a wall. I don't know what to do. I feel helpless. There's nothing I can do, but I can't do nothing. I can't move forward with my life. Everyday things don't mean anything anymore. When I look at my small grandchildren playing happily, full of joy, I think about children having their limbs amputated without anaesthetic on bloody floors, or being picked out of rubble in little pieces and being put in a bin liner. A vision of hell. I have lost my faith. My life will never be the same again. This is what I hear every day from many people I know and local people who I am getting to know who live in Bath and North East Somerset. Their numbers grow by the day, a rising tide of beleaguered people looking to their political leaders to act. For Palestinians resident in Baines with family in Gaza, it's of an entirely different order. I try, but I can't begin to really comprehend what they have been going through since the start of the mass displacement and genocide, the second Nakba. How do you function when you know that your parents are starving to death? When your three-year-old twin cousins have been blown up in their uncle's lap and the pieces can't be found? When you feel the terror, trauma and despair of your loved ones who have been abandoned by a heartless world? When you feel utter helplessness and hopelessness? I have no idea. I can't comprehend the level of alienation that they feel and the cruel realization that the vast majority of politicians, whether on a national or local level, simply don't care. or do both siding, or bury their heads in the sand, or, unbelievably, side with the oppressor. Where is their humanity? The council, where is their humanity? I'm not talking about our Green councillors, because they were trying to get a motion tabled and it was rejected. They were not allowed to do so. So this is not about our 3 Green councillors. And I'm not party politicking either, it's just a fact. Don't tell us that this is just an international issue, that you have no power to influence, that it is not proper council business. You cared about the Ukrainians, you flew to their aid and drew them to your bosom, you raised their flag and twinned with a Ukrainian town. You couldn't do enough too quickly. Don't tell us it's not your business, it is your business. We are your constituents, we voted you in, we put you in power. Our mental health is suffering and we are terrified by the prospect of a so-called democracy that ignores the will of the people. We are appalled that you do not care enough even to have a debate. How dare you treat this genocide, this Holocaust, as if it is an inconvenience? How dare you sweep it under the carpet? How dare you turn your backs? Do you not understand international law? Do you not follow what is going on at the International Court of Justice? Do you not realise that those politicians who do not act to do everything in their power to stop this slaughter are complicit and culpable? If you don't want to table a ceasefire, the council, if they don't want to table a ceasefire because it's complicated, they need to understand that it's not, that it really is not. Go away, do your homework, wake up, get out of your comfort zone, stop being so intellectually dishonest. Shame on Bath and North East Somerset Council. Shame. And one more thing, but an important thing, to the leader of the council, Kevin Guy. You told a lie in the council meeting. You told Mohammed, a Palestinian speaker, that the council had called for a ceasefire in their Gaza statement. They did not. They said they hoped for a ceasefire. This is quite different. Their words were chosen carefully. They always choose their words carefully. They chose to say hopes for. There was a reason for that. This is quite different. The words were chosen carefully. The council statement was a toothless platitude, no more. No actions are linked to that. It's just to make them feel better about themselves. Was Kevin Guy embarrassed? Was he trying to cover his back? That's what it looked like from where we were. A desperate attempt to deflect criticism. It showed zero empathy for Palestinians and gross duplicity and utter disrespect. In the statement, the council says it cares about all of its constituents. Rubbish. Don't look away, because we are not going away. We are out here on day, I think it's 162, and we will keep on showing up. Silence is violence. Free Palestine.
Thanks for joining today. It's good to see you. I would like to thank Jane for her powerful word and for her speech in the council. I think we all felt defeated that we, despite all of the attempts we were making to call for an immediate ceasefire, something which is definitive, we didn't manage to. But we will keep marching and we will stay together and we will stand together until we have a ceasefire and until we end the occupation of Palestine. Comrades and friends, residents of Bath, thanks for joining today. For 6 months, we've taken the streets here in Bath, in Bristol, in London, in other cities across the UK, almost every week, raising our voices against the silence and inaction of our government, and against the complicity that are committed and atrocities that are committed in Gaza. Your presence here today is a testament of our care and strength as people standing in unity together, and the unwavering commitment to human rights that binds us together as a community. Last week, we stood together in protest of the Bath and Northeast Somerset Council failure to adopt a motion in support of a ceasefire. That's after 160 days of relentless bombardment of Gaza. The inaction of the Council is not a passive stance. It's a form of violence. It causes harm not only to Palestinians here in the UK and in Gaza, but also it hurts all of us, people who cares. It makes us feel unrepresented. It makes us feel like our voices are not heard. We say to those rejecting the proposed motion, those decided not to stand on the right side of the history, shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
The situation in Gaza is beyond dire. It's devastating. It is catastrophic. The death toll has exceeded 32,000, with a majority being children and women. These are not just numbers. They are human lives, each with a story, a family, dreams that were extinguished too soon. The silence on these matters is complicity. There's no name for it. By not speaking out, by not demanding action, you become part of this machinery that allows such devastation to continue. We must remind ourselves and our counselors that inaction in the face of injustice is violence. It is the violence of neglect, the violence of turning a blind eye, and the violence of suppressing the voices that cry out for justice. I urge you, the residents of Bath, to continue marching. Your activism is the pulse that shows that we are alive, that we have shared values of justice and appreciation of human lives. Boycott Israeli products. Engage with Bath Campaign's network activities, and use every means at your disposal to demand an immediate ceasefire and an end to the occupation. It's not only a ceasefire. We want an end to occupation. It's been lasting for so long, and we are tired of marching for that. Your action sends a powerful message that we will not stand by indifferent while atrocities are committed in our names. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can push for a ceasefire and ending decades of oppression and occupation. Together, we can ensure that our city stands on the right side of the history, advocating for peace and justice for all. Thank you for your courage, your compassion, and your commitment to solidarity with the Palestinian people. Keep marching, keep speaking out, and keep standing with one another. It is this solidarity that defines us, and it is this solidarity that will lead us to a free Palestine. Free Palestine, free Palestine. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes. Right. Well, our next speaker needs no introduction, but I'll introduce her anyway. Please give a big Bath warm welcome to Charlotte Church. One more thing, tiny thing. Please write to Kevin Guy and complain about his appalling stance on the ceasefire. Please do that. Right, off you go, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So totally wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me to come and speak, and thank you everybody for coming out and for your solidarity and messages of support over the last couple of weeks. It's been really heartening. I would like to read today an excerpt from an amazing Mexican storyteller called Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And this is an excerpt from a letter that she wrote, a letter to a young activist. So it's not about Palestine specifically, but I think the words in it are very apt and I'd like you all to take this deep into your hearts and take it with you. I have heard from so many recently who are deeply and properly bewildered. They are concerned about the state of affairs in our world right now. It is true, one has to have strong cojones and ovarios to withstand much of what passes for good in our culture today. Abject disregard of what the soul finds most precious and irreplaceable, and the corruption of principled ideals have become, in some large societal arenas, the new normal, the grotesquerie of the weak. It is hard to say which one of the current egregious matters has rocked people's worlds and beliefs more. Ours is a time of almost daily jaw-dropping astonishment and often righteous rage over the latest degradations of what matters most to civilized, visionary people. You are right in your assessments. The luster and hubris some have aspired to while endorsing acts so heinous against children, elders, everyday people, the poor, the unguarded, the helpless, is breathtaking. Yet I urge you, ask you, gentle you, to please not spend your spirit dry by bewailing these difficult times. Especially do not lose hope, most particularly because the fact is, we were made for these times. Yes, for years we have been learning, practicing, been in training for, and just waiting to meet on this exact plane of engagement. I cannot tell you often enough that we are definitely the leaders we have been waiting for, and that we have been raised since childhood for this time precisely. I grew up on the Great Lakes and recognize a seaworthy vessel when I see one. Regarding awakened souls, there have never been more able crafts in the waters than there are right now across the world. And they are fully provisioned and able to signal one another as never before in the history of humankind. I would like to take your hands for a moment and assure you that you are built well for these times. Despite your stints of doubt, your frustrations in writing all that needs change right now, or even feeling you have lost the map entirely, you are not without resource. You are not alone. Look out over the prow. There are millions of boats of righteous souls on the waters with you. In your deepest bones, you have always known this is so. Even though your veneers may shiver from every wave in this stormy royal, I assure you that the long timbers composing your prow and rudder come from a greater forest. That long-grained lumber is known to withstand storms, to hold together, to hold its own, and to advance regardless. We have been in training for a dark time such as this, since the day we assented to come to Earth. For many decades, worldwide, souls just like us have been felled and left for dead in so many ways, over and over, brought down by naivety, by lack of love, by suddenly realizing one deadly thing or another, by not realizing something else soon enough, by being ambushed and assaulted by various cultural and personal shocks in the extreme. We have a history of being gutted, and yet, remember this especially, we also have, of necessity, perfected the knack of resurrection. So they were the words of Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who is an incredible storyteller. And if anybody is feeling troubled in these times, which I imagine the majority of us are. She is a great balm, and she has got a lot of audio series, so I cannot recommend her enough just to, you know, bring wisdom and love and hope. So I'd like to teach you a little song today. Is that cool? Yeah. Let's see how your singing voices are. So this is a song by an amazing black queer activist in America called Adrienne Marie Brown. And it's very simple. So I will sing it. Basically, the first lyric is "We march together." The first lyric is "We breathe together." The second is "We march together." The third is "We strike together." At the end of each verse is "Stop the occupation." And then as the chorus at the end, we sing "Ceasefire." So I'll sing it, but it's really simple. So I'll do it like a call and response, okay? So. We march together, we march together, we march together. Stop the occupation, stop the occupation. Do it all together. We march together, we march together, we march together. Stop the occupation. We breathe. We breathe together, we breathe together, we breathe together. Stop the occupation. We strike together, we strike together, we strike together. Stop the occupation. Next bit, it goes like this. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Stop the occupation. Your turn. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Stop the occupation. Okay, we're going to do one more time all together. So we march together, we breathe together, we strike together, then ceasefire. For those of you who fancy veering off and getting a little more complex, feel free to go into harmony if you so feel. So we march. We march together, we march together, we march together. Stop the occupation. We breathe together, we breathe together, we breathe together. Stop the occupation. We strike together, we strike together, we strike together. Stop the occupation. Ceasefire, feel it. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Stop the occupation. One more time, ceasefire. Ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. Stop the occupation. Wonderful. Give yourself a big round of applause. So at some point on the march, I will call for you to sing it, and then we shall sing it as we march. Much love. Thank you, Beth.
In our thousands, in our million. In our thousands, in our million. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Ready, we all in 5 boys? With me. We march together. We march.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone who stopped, took a moment to think about everyone we've lost. And please feel free to join the demonstration if you'd like. It doesn't take much longer. Let's continue now. We're going to go ahead and chant some names again, and we're going to put the blame where it belongs. All of these are Palestinian children, Palestinian victims, killed by Israel's bombardment on Gaza, unrelentless, untargeted bombing. Khalid al-Baba!
Killed by Israel!
Khalid al-Baba!
Killed by Israel!
Khalid Abu al-Umarin!
Killed by Israel!
Farah Hamad!
Killed by Israel!
Farah Abu Arabiyan!
Killed by Israel!
Isa Suri!
Killed by Israel!
Mayyar Farad!
Killed by Israel!
Muhammad Barghoon!
Killed by Israel!
Aisha Rashwan!
Killed by Israel!
Ayyam Durra!
Killed by Israel!
Netanyahu, you can't hide! Netanyahu, you can't hide! UK government, you can't hide! UK government, you can't hide!
After the closing speakers, we're going to have a beautiful final a cappella song from Charlotte. Charlotte Church, who is so grateful to have welcomed here in Bath today. We're so grateful for every single person who showed up. Please continue doing your bit and telling other people that this is a loving, loving, peaceful movement for justice and peace. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! All right.
The first bomb Israel dropped on Gaza was heard around the world. Every bomb after that became background noise. The first death from starvation shocked our collective humanity with its hollowed cheeks and brittle bones. Gaza continues to starve. The first education ended was an afterthought even then. Secondary in the face of the nightmare that was unfolding and is all but forgotten now. But along with the literal deaths, the demolished hopes and ambitions of young Palestinians haunts me. Because like every war crime deserves international outrage, every death deserves grief, the millions of smaller losses in between deserved to be recognized as the tragedies they are. Among all the catastrophic losses of loved ones' lives and limbs, the youth of Gaza have also lost their educations, opportunities, aspirations, and futures. We often hear, these are real people, not numbers, real people that had hopes and dreams. But to understand what that means, you need to know how hard they are to come by in the first place. The people of Palestine are deprived as is. They are in Gaza, they are trapped on a narrow strip of land, capped on how much they can accomplish, cut off at the knees before they can even try to run. Yet even burdened by grief and fear, they have held on to the dream of making a better future, of making something of themselves. But through this bombardment, Israel has been finishing off what little hope is left for Palestinians. Take education, for example. Gaza has an incredibly high literacy rate, a culture that values education. For a lot of people, education is a lifeline, a bright spot in the shadow of occupation. But now Israel is killing the teachers little girls looked up to, the professors and writers who gave students hope. Even if there was a ceasefire tomorrow, as there should have been months ago, when they go back to classrooms, they will be greeted with empty seats that once housed their deceased peers. And go back to where exactly? All the schools have been destroyed as they've been housing refugees. The university halls they envision their commencement ceremonies in are rubble. In a few months, I will put on a new dress and a cap and gown and graduate in Bath Abbey. But I won't be able to do it unless I know I did everything I could to advocate for my Palestinian peers who no longer get to do the same. In this city of students, I ask, will you? It's not just education. It's a student who just graduated and was looking forward to their first job, the start of their career journey. The small businesses, photography studios, shops that took so long to build and longer yet to dream up, but were destroyed in a single day. It's the engagements and weddings that were planned to be joyous occasions, community celebrations, instead are happening in tents with the ghosts of their loved ones. They can't kill everyone, but they can make sure they don't have it in them left to live. One of the most insidious outcomes of Israel's occupation is shrunken dreams, putting barbed wire fences around even the imaginations and ambitions of young Palestinians. The boy who dreamed of becoming a doctor now can only dream to survive the night. The new father who planned to build a better life for his child can now only hope to keep them in one piece. Or the young woman who had visions of uplifting and empowering women in her community are now witnessing conditions that any feminist would call deplorable. And to our greatest shame, we have the students who studied human rights and international law, hoping to work at the UN to help their and other oppressed people. But they've now lost faith in those international institutions, lost faith in the good in the world, lost faith in us. See, that's where we have to rise up. We who have the luxury and comfort to dream. We whose vision, free from airstrike smoke, can envision liberation. It is on us to keep dreaming on their behalf. It's a long journey ahead. We need a ceasefire. We need to rebuild. We need justice, a lift of the siege, and an end to the occupation once and for all. But as long as I can imagine a better future, I won't stop fighting for it. A free Palestine has intertwined itself in every single one of my dreams. And we'll see it as long as you live, you keep it in yours. Thank you.
Thank you guys. This song is just meant to just sort of calm your nervous systems back down, but also make you connect with your heart, make you connect with the feelings, with the emotion of it all, because that is why we're all here. That is why we're all doing this on our Saturday, on a day off. It's because we love life, because we love children. And those Palestinian children and those Palestinian people, They are us, and we are them. So if you want to sing along, I'm going to sing You'll Never Walk Alone. It feels pertinent, so if you want to sing along, please feel free. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high, and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm is a golden sky and a sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. Solidarity to you brothers and sisters and siblings of our Free Palestine.